259 of God's chain of events. Moving on to the 52nd chapter of Jeremiah, starting at the 24th verse. And captain of the guard took Seraiah, the chief priest of Zephaniah, and Zephaniah, the second priest, the three keepers of the doors. He took also of the city an eunuch which had charge of the men of war, and 7 men of them that were near the king's person, which were found in the city, and the principal scribe of the host, who mustered the people of the land, and 80 men of the people of the land that were found in the midst of the city. So Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took them and brought them to the king of Babylon to Riblah. And the king of Babylon smote them and put them to death in Riblah in the land of Hamath. Thus Judah was carried away captive out of his own land. This is the people whom Nebuchadrezzar carried away captive in the 7th year, 3,000 Jews, 3,020. In the 18th year of Nebuchadrezzar king, he carried away captive from Jerusalem 832 persons. In the 23rd year of Nebuchadrezzar, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive of the Jews 745 persons. All the persons were 4,600. And it came to pass in the 7th and 13th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the 12th month, in the 25th day of the month, that Evil-Merodach, king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his reign, lifted up the head of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and brought him forth out of his prison, and spake kindly unto him, and set his throne before the thrones of the kings that were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garment, and he did continually eat bread before him all the days of his life. And for his diet there was a continual diet given him of the kings of Babylon, every day a portion until the day of his death, all the days of his life. Moving on to the 1st chapter of Lamentations, starting at the 1st verse. How doth the city sit solitary, that was full of people? How is she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations, and princes among the provinces, how is she become tributary? She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among her lovers she hath done to comfort her. Among all her lovers she hath none to comfort her. All her friends have dwelt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. Judah is going into captivity because of afflictions, and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen. She findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. The ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn feast. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Her adversary are the chief. Her enemies prosper, for the Lord hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. And from the daughter of Zion all her beauty is departed. Her princes are become like harts that find no pasture, and they are gone without strength before the pursuers. Jerusalem remembered in the days of her affliction and of her misery all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, and none did help her. The adversaries saw her and did mock her at her Sabbaths. Jerusalem hath grievously sinned, therefore she is removed. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. Yea, she sigheth and turneth backwards. Her filthiness is in her skirts. She remembered not her last end. Therefore she came down wonderfully. She had no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction, for the enemy hath magnified himself. The adversary had spread out his hand upon all her pleasant things, for she had seen that the heathen entered into her sanctuary, whom thou didst command that they should not enter into thy congregation. And all her people sigh, they seek bread. They have given them pleasant things for meat, to relieve the soul. See, O Lord, and consider, for I am become vile. Is it nothing to you, all ye that pass by? Behold, behold, and see, if there be any sorrow like unto my sorrow, which is done unto me, wherewith the Lord hath afflicted me in the day of his fierce anger. From above hath he sent fire into my bones, and it prevaileth against them. He hath spread a net for my feet. He hath turned me back. He hath made me desolate and faint all the day. The yoke of my transgression is bound by his hand. They are wreathed and come up upon my neck. He hath made my strength to fall. The Lord hath delivered me into their hands, from whom I am not able to rise up. The Lord hath trodden under foot all my mighty men in the midst of me. He hath called an assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord hath trodden the virgin, the daughter of Judah, as in a winepress. For these things I weep, my eye runneth down with water, because the comforter that would relieve my soul is far from me. My children are desolate, because the enemy prevailed. Zion spreadeth forth her hands, and there is none to comfort her. The Lord hath commanded concerning Jacob, that his adversaries should be round about him. Jerusalem is a mistress woman among them. The Lord is righteous, for I have rebelled against his commandment. Hear, I pray you, all people, and behold my sorrow. My virgin, my young men are gone into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and my elders gave up the ghosts in the city, while they sought their meat to relieve their souls. Behold, O Lord, for I am in distress. My bowels are troubled, my heart is turned within me. For I have grievously rebelled. Abroad the sword, bereaved at home, there is as death. They have heard that I sigh, there is none to comfort me. All mine enemies have heard of my troubles. They are glad that thou hast done it. Though thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall fall, and they shall be like unto me. Let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me. For all my transgressions, for my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. Moving on to the second chapter of Lamentations, starting at the first verse. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down the heaven unto the earth, the beauty of Israel, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord hath swallowed up all the habitation of Jacob, and hath not pitied. He hath thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He hath brought them down to the ground. He hath polluted the kingdom and the princes thereof. He hath cut off in his fierce anger all the horn of Israel. He hath drawn back his right hand from before the enemy. He hath burned against Jacob like a flaming fire, which devoureth round about. He hath bent his bow like an enemy. He stood with his right hand as an adversary, and slew all that were pleasant to the eye in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like fire. The Lord was as an enemy. He swallowed up Israel. He hath swallowed up all her palaces. He hath destroyed his strongholds, and hath increased in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentation. And he hath violently taken away his tabernacle, as if it were of a garden. He had destroyed, he had violently taken away his tabernacle, as if it were of a garden. He had destroyed his places of the assembly of the Lord. Had caused the Lord had caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, and has despised in the indignation of his anger the king and the priest. The Lord hath cast off his altar. He hath abhorred his sanctuary. He hath given up into the hand of the enemy the walls of her palaces. They have made a noise in the house of the Lord, as in the day of a solemn feast. The Lord had purposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He had stretched out a line. He had not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore, he made the rampart and the wall to lament. They languish together. Her gates are sunk into the ground. He hath destroyed and broken her bars. The king and her princes are among the Gentiles. The law is no more her prophet. Also find no vision from the Lord. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit upon the ground and keep silence. They have cast up dust upon their heads. They have girded themselves with sackcloth. The virgin of Jerusalem hang down their heads to the ground. My eyes do fail with tears. My bowels are troubled. My liver is poured out upon the earth for the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the children and the suckling soon in the streets of the city. They say to their mother, where is corn and wine? When they swoon as though wounded in the streets of the city, when their soul was poured out into their mother's bosom. What thing shall I make? What thing shall I take to witness for thee? What thing shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy breach is great, like the sea. Who can heal thee? Thy prophets have seen vain, foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity to turn away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burdens and cause of banishment. All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we looked for. We have found, we have seen it. The Lord hath done that which he had devised. He hath fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He hath thrown down and hath not pity. He hath caused thine enemies to rejoice over thee. He hath set up the horn of thine adversary. Their heart cried unto the Lord, O wall of the daughter of Zion, let tears run down like a river, day and night. Give thyself no rest. Let not the apple of the eye cease. Arise, cry in the night, in the beginning of the watches. Pour out thine heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up thine hands toward him for the life of thy young children, that faint for hunger in the top of every street. Behold, O Lord, and consider to whom thou hast done this. Shall the women eat their fruit, and children of a span long? Shall the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? The young and the old lie on the ground in the streets by virgins. My virgins and my young men are fallen by the sword. Thou hast slain them in the day of thine anger. Thou hast killed and not pitied. Thou hast called as in the solemn day my terrors round about, so that in the day of the Lord's anger, none escape nor remain. Those that I have swaddled and brought up had my enemy consumed. We're going to stop here and start part 260 in the next message. View part 260.